up, everybody? It's Aaron with Robert, and this is Get Your Geek On, and this is our media review of What If.
The Watcher broke his oath.
Not like he ever done that.
Yeah, he definitely in the comics does. And I do love, there was an interview actually with the creators where they kind of talked about, season 2 coming up, and they were, people were asking them if he was going to start breaking his oath more often. And one of them kind of just called him like, he's kind of a little bitch.
Yeah, he is.
I was like, that's funny. But anyway, so this is the season finale. This is a spoiler review of episode 9. We do know we are getting another season. But basically, this is the culmination of everything that has led to it before. We get either callbacks or visitations, specific characters from every previous episode. And we get the name-dropped Guardians of the Multiverse. So, tell me how you felt about this one.
Overall, I actually pretty much liked it. I think it was a really solid episode. I do think that everything wrapped up perfectly. I think. I don't know. I really enjoyed the artwork, and I enjoyed the fights, and I enjoyed how quick it moved.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, let's drag it out. No, it was, bam, you're chosen. Not it. You're chosen. So I loved it. And I do like that little call to, not you, Tony. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. Which, obviously, that scene we see Gamora and Tony like melting down in Infinity Gauntlet. And, they've just defeated Thanos. That is an episode that we were actually supposed to get this season. They said, that it was supposed to be initially 10 episodes, and the article I was reading said this episode was actually supposed to come before the Doctor Strange episode, so it was supposed to be like the 4th episode of the season, where Tony ends up going to Sakaar after the events of the first Avengers movie. So that's the trash planet with the Grandmaster.
Yeah.
We will get that in season 2. It was basically, the reason we didn't get it was because of COVID, and the animation house that was working on that particular episode just got hit hard and wasn't able to complete it in time. So we will get that episode still. But that was the only thing that I will say this episode. We get all of the chosen people are people from previous episodes, except for Gamora, who was supposed to be. But because we didn't get that episode, it did feel a little bit like, wait, where is she coming from? Who is, she's obviously playing an important part in this role.
Yeah.
But it was kind of, it was totally different than what I expected in terms of why did they choose these people? Because I think we'd even talked about why would they pick someone like Killmonger who's not a good person? Or why would they pick Party Thor when Captain Marvel is in that same universe? Why would you pick Party Thor? Well, they're each picked for very specific reasons.
Yeah.
And so I kind of like that. And, again, ultimately I thought the fight was super fun. I loved Ultron being like, why won't you die?
It was really
it's what's going on? Why isn't this working?
Yeah.
And I kind of appreciated that because he's kind of almost analyzing the situation where he's like, you're supposed to already be dead. The things I've done should have killed you. So why isn't it working? And finally, he does figure out that it's because of the protection spell, but it's kind of too late at that point when he figures it out. Overall, I had a lot of fun with this episode. I really liked the dynamic between Peggy Carter and Natasha. That's really cool. I'm really hoping we get to explore more of that.
That would be nice.
Maybe in future What Ifs, but maybe even in live action. Now that Disney has settled their thing with Scarlett Johansson, you're telling me we can't visit the live action Captain Carter universe and have her big BFFs with Scarlett Johansson?
That would be cool.
So
I would be okay with that. That would be amazing.
So yeah, I thought this was a super fun episode. It was a fun way to end the season. It didn't end the way I thought it would, but I think it ended in a very satisfying way.
It did. Now, there was a couple things I didn't care for.
Okay.
One, Carter meets, I guess, rogue Natasha or solo Natasha, whatever you want to call her, Mad Max Natasha, by herself on this planet. Instantly, Natasha trusts her and friends. And to me, that was a little, I get it's supposed to be like the Steve. Like Steve can make anybody become his friend in a few seconds.
Well, I think what really did it is the way that she, kind of went down the list of things that she knows about Natasha.
Yeah.
And it was clearly, you could see that those are things that Natasha doesn't tell everyone.
Right.
And so, it's a lot to take in, and these characters do quickly accept what's happening. And so there's a little bit of like, really? Like, why are they but at the same time, with the exception of Natasha, they're all brought to like a weird location after seeing a giant, like bald dude, and so you kind of understand why they accept it. Natasha accepting it as quickly as she did,
it was a little off, honestly.
It was a little bit, but also you got to remember, I mean, she's just lived through this battle with Ultron. She thinks she's the last survivor, and so seeing aliens like Gamora, or a sorcerer like Doctor Strange, I think she's just kind of like, I'm gonna accept.
I just don't care anymore. Yeah, I'm just done.
But I understand. I get that it didn't have a negative impact.
Yeah, on me. It wasn't negative. It was just one of those like, really, okay. But then it moved on straight to the action. Now I did like from the get-go, Killmonger, you knew he was up to something, and I like how the rest of the team is like, yeah, no, I don't like him. I don't trust him. And Thor, I trust everybody.
Yeah, this version of Thor literally does trust everyone. And we saw that in his episode. I mean, like, Surtur was invited to his party.
Yeah.
Like, so yes, Party Thor trusts everybody. He's just like, everybody's good.
Everybody's my friend.
So yeah, I like that.
That was funny. I mean, again, all the characters didn't change, though. Killmonger was still Killmonger. None of the personalities changed.
Right.
And I kind of like that. What we left with from their episode is still who they are in this episode.
Yeah,
and I really enjoyed that. The one other thing that was a little weird to me was Doctor Strange.
Okay.
So at the end of this episode, and we kind of saw it happening, the struggle between Ultron and basically Killmonger. Well, not even Ultron anymore, Zola.
Yeah.
And Killmonger. And then Doctor Strange figures out what is the real issue, the way to really solve this, because they can't destroy the stones. It was to separate him from the body, and it looked like put him in the Mirrorverse.
Yeah, and basically trap them, I think, in time. Like, so they're frozen, and then trap them in basically a pocket dimension.
Yeah.
And just say, they're going to live in, for all eternity, just, frozen in this fight over the stones, but neither one of them has them. They're just floating in between.
And which is a nice callback if you know some stuff from the comics and even Spider-Man cartoon. That's what happened to Captain America and Red Skull. They were trapped in a time that no one could get into or out of.
Right.
And it was just kind of odd that Doctor Strange basically sacrificed his life to essentially now watch over this bubble, this pocket dimension.
I mean, I feel like I get where he's coming from, because when Uatu says that to him, he says, your sacrifice, and he's like, that implies that I have something left to lose.
Yeah, and
like,
his whole universe was wiped.
At that point, like, yes, could he travel to a different universe and be in that one? I guess he could, but I don't know that he really has the desire to.
No.
Like what he's become, because again, at the end of his episode, he finally feels remorse. It's too late, but I think, he has gotten to that point where he doesn't want to mess with things anymore.
Yeah.
And
he knows the monster he is, kind of thing.
Yeah, and so I think he's, in that sense, he doesn't want to be somewhere he's not supposed to be anymore, or do things he's not
He's understanding I can't mess with time and I can't mess with this multiverse thing. And it makes sense. It was just interesting. I would like to revisit that Doctor. Like, somehow in the what if, like...
I mean, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I cannot imagine that they're not going to bring Ultron back in live action in some form or fashion.
They need to. Like, because Ultron's always around.
Right, especially when you think of Ultron from the comics. He never gets completely destroyed. He's always evolving and taking that next step. So, like bringing him into this what if and, bringing in the multiverse, there has to be another Ultron that we face off against eventually.
Yeah.
Whether it's, they bring back James Spader, or they just, like this character is voiced by Ross Marquand.
He did a good job.
Who, I mean, and he wasn't trying to do James Spader. It was like a slightly different take, because this is a slightly different Ultron.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that. But yeah, I just can't imagine that we're not going to get Ultron back at some point. And honestly, the way they left that little pocket dimension with like the warning, like you can't ever let this crack. It's like, so eventually it's gonna crack, right?
Yeah, it's like, you know what's coming up. It's gonna fall. Now, I did also like Natasha at the end of this one, and that even though Utahu never interferes, blah blah, whatever, doesn't have to always send you back where you came from. Even though everyone else he knows everything. I mean, he knew how this was gonna play out too. He already knew that. So that tells us he knows everything essentially,
right?
Because he's there at the beginning of time and he's gonna be at the end of time. Right. That is what the Watchers do. And I like that Natasha was like, I'm not going out that door. And he's like, well, the door is just a metaphor. Like, I'm going to do it because I'm Utahu, I'm the Watcher.
I appreciated that too.
But then he's like, takes her to another universe where their Black Widow was dead.
Yeah, we finally, that's the only episode like that we didn't pull a character from in this episode, was the one where all the Avengers get murdered. And so, yeah, we show up there at the end on a helicarrier where Captain America, who's been unfreed from the ice. So we get him fighting alongside Captain Marvel and Nick Fury.
And that's all we see, right? Like, I didn't see any other heroes in that scene.
Well, because remember, the rest of the Avengers were basically all killed.
I didn't know if there was anyone else, though, maybe that he would have pulled.
Those are the only three, those were the big ones. I mean, it was like S.H.I.E.L.D. versus Loki and the Asgardians. But yeah, I like that Black Widow, shows back up in that timeline, and kind of, you have that moment of like, this is a world that lost their widow. And I love that Nick Fury is like,
he already knew.
He's like, you're not my widow, but you have her spirit.
I love that. Yeah. I was like, I love Nick Fury, but that also makes me wonder, does he know about the Watchers? Because I don't know, so quickly knew that's not mine. But again, I mean, also it's Nick Fury. He knows everything about everybody.
Yeah, I mean, we have to assume, again, Nick Fury verified that Natasha was dead. So he immediately, upon seeing her show up out of nowhere, he's going like, you're not the same woman I knew, but
you're her.
Yeah. So
you're
I like
close
that.
Enough.
I mean, like talking about where these characters end up. Now we don't get a return to Gamora, and I think that's partially because we didn't get that episode.
Right.
But if you look at like, we get the Captain Carter, which is our first mid-credit scene. So make sure if you didn't stick around, make sure you go back and watch that.
That was a beautiful one too.
Yeah, because we get her reuniting with her Black Widow, and then with. I loved the music. It kicked in.
It was so awesome.
And the only thing I was missing is I was waiting for her to say, Steve, like she does at the end of like First Avengers. Like I really was expecting that.
I was kind of hoping for, I guess we can't have that dance or something with the dance, because that was always. They even comment in that episode where they're dancing the fight.
That would have been cool. So yeah, we see that return. We also, again, we see Doctor Strange end up back where he was. We see T'Challa.
Well, Doctor Strange, we don't see where he was.
Yeah, Doctor Strange is back in
the
pocket.
You mean back in the pocket dimension?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We see T'Challa return back to his universe where he's fighting off Ego, and we see him actually, he's given Peter Quill one of the blasters.
Guns. Yes, I loved it.
So that's fun. He's back there. Of course, we get like the zombies come into this, but what that means, I don't really know what that means for that universe. Like,
because now they're there.
Well, I'm not worried about the planet that doesn't have any life on it, because that's where the zombies showed up. But I'm talking about the zombie universe that was in that episode. Like, what's going on there? It was interesting to me. They pulled the Scarlet Witch one, and we know the last time we saw her, she was battling Hulk. We did not see Hulk come through that portal, nor did we see Giant Wasp. So I was just wondering, like, are we going to return to the zombie world?
See, now I'm wondering, because now the zombies are in two different universes at this point, right? They're on the planet with no life.
Correct.
And they're in their universe.
Correct.
So we know they're in two universes.
Yeah.
In the comics, Galactus does go to the Earth and tries to eat it, gets eaten by the zombies, and then we have the zombies travel the entire universe.
Well, the other thing you have to remember is there is an Infinity Gauntlet with the zombies. And literally, like, there's a space stone that's part of that. Like, so, I mean,
I'm just waiting. Like,
zombies could be traveling.
That's going to be the next what if, because now they're in two universes.
It could be.
It's like, oh, crap, we spread the virus. Like, now are we going to get the zombies? And now, like you said, Thanos, is it still an intelligent enough Thanos to know how to, like, oh, wait, there's more food somewhere else in another universe, and like you said, travel through other dimensions.
Who knows?
I bet you. I'm gonna put money that that's the next one is zombies.
We could go there. I mean, I think they're still just going to keep exploring kind of these singular episodes. I don't know if they'll do the building to a big bad thing again. I don't know. I mean, it was successful.
It was,
but
I was really happy with it.
Definitely. Yeah, and we get Party Thor going back to his world that's had some battle with Ultron bots.
Yeah, he was fighting them off.
But I think maybe they're done with that.
His battle cry was amazing though.
Now the one that I really actually do, Viva. What does he say?
Viva Las Vegas. Says he shoot the lightning out.
The one that I really do want to return to is the universe that now no longer has a Killmonger in it. But I don't know if they will.
Oh yeah, because now he's frozen. Yeah.
Right, because that's he killed Tony, he killed T'Challa and Rhodey, but we had Shuri and the Dora Milaje showing up with Pepper, basically to apprehend him when he gets taken by the Watcher, but he doesn't return. All of the other ones return. Killmonger does not, because he's frozen in that pocket dimension. So it's one of those things where I'm wondering, how that's gonna.
Well, I wonder if that's gonna play out to Shuri becoming Black Panther. Because that's supposed to be the next film.
Sure,
so maybe it's not a tie-in, but it's it leads into the what ifs.
Yeah. One other thing that I'm just thinking of that could be interesting, and again, I don't know how much they'll explore it. So the Widow that now has shown up in this other timeline is from a few years past this point in time. Because this is like around the formation of the Avengers.
Right.
That she's shown up and she's from Age of Ultron timeline, so she's lived the events of like Winter Soldier. She knows SHIELD has been infiltrated by Hydra. She knows about Arnim Zola. She knows those things. So assuming they're able to defeat Loki,
but she did a nice kick to him and used a stone on him.
Yeah. She's gonna have a conversation with Nick Fury.
Yeah, Nick, I got some shit to tell you.
But also, I mean, it's like, okay, so we gotta take down this Hydra, that's living within us and all that stuff. Yeah, so it's super interesting.
But it might be interesting to see how they have to let it play out, because you can't interfere with time either too much.
I mean, Natasha can. She's just gonna do it. Are you telling me she's not going to go to Nick Fury and be like, listen,
I think she's gonna
half of S.H.I.E.L.D. is actually Hydra?
I think it's going to push...
Or Peggy. Well, no, it's Captain Carter in that one. Or Captain America.
Captain America and Captain Marvel. I think what would happen is she'll go to Fury first. Fury's going to make plans for when it does happen, so that way, 1, he doesn't get killed. 2, he doesn't have to go to the hospital and fake it. It'll be a life model decoy. He'll have everyone prepped, so when it hits, it doesn't last anywhere near as long. It'll be just squashed in a heartbeat. I don't see him saying like, hey, yeah, let's go ahead and squash it now, because I think he would think like this could affect time.
No way. Nick Fury would absolutely want to just root Hydra out immediately.
I don't know. Nick Fury has secrets, and his secrets have secrets.
And if Captain America finds out, we're not waiting.
If Captain America finds out, yeah, we're not waiting. But he's also a soldier that would follow orders too at that point. I mean, he really hasn't been.
But Age of Ultron, Natasha might feel a close bond with Captain America.
Maybe, yeah.
I'm just saying.
I mean, your wild card's Marvel. Let's face it; she's gonna be the real wild card of all of it, because we don't know how she would really handle something like that.
She would root out evil. That's literally what her job is. She's doing it.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's all we've ever seen her do.
Just hit shit.
Is just punch anyone that is a bad guy, or that she thinks is a bad guy.
Why did you punch that little kid? They stole candy from the other kid.
Kind of.
Okay, Punisher.
Right? So, it was a fun episode. It was a fun season. It had some ups and downs. Had some episodes that we didn't care for quite as much, but overall, I think it was a fun series. I'm looking forward to another season of it, and I hope this is the type of thing where I think they could just keep making them. And I hope they do, because this is a lot of fun.
It is. I really enjoyed it. And, let us know down below what you think. Did you like them? Did you like the ending? Do you like the idea of it building? Do you hope next season is just single episodes and nothing builds up? I'm curious on that. Again, I like this build up. I thought it was fun. I think you enjoyed that part.
Yeah. And just one last thing that I just wanted to call out. The moment when Natasha and Peggy are fighting Ultron with their shields was
That
super
was
cool.
cool.
That was so cool.
That was amazing.
I was like, this is awesome.
That was something I've always wanted to see, like how somebody would play that out. Like, I like that.
Yep.
So on that one though, guys, go check out all our other reviews, check out other channels, excuse me, other shows. And of course, follow us on all of our platforms at official GYGO. I'm Aaron, that's Robert, and get your geek on.
Bye.